Namo Myoho Renge Kyo. Hi, everyone. I hope this finds you in good health and secure. As you see, my hair is growing back out. I am having such neural problems with my arms, mostly my left. Shaving is becoming, as you've noticed in the last few videos, the proliferation of nicks, and it's just not worth it. So I hope you'll allow me. It's not a lack of respect by any means. It's just pragmatism. We are going to continue now with the heritage of the ultimate law of life, the engine of life, karma, and our awareness, our understanding, our witnessing of karma, the formations of energy as they form, and how we participate in the formations of the experience of life. Those formations are informed by moment to moment, moment to moment, 3,000 realms in each moment that we exist, and how we interact with those moments, the decisions we make within the 3,000 realms in each moment provide for us our maximal experience of potential, our potential, life potential, right? And our awareness of it and our deep appreciation of it. So many aspects of experience in this practice. And it's bewilderingly immense in its simplicity. So, Nichiren continues. For one who summons up one's strong resolve and chants Namo Myoho Renge Kyo with the profound insight that now is the last moment of one's life, the sutra proclaims, quote, when the lives of these persons comes to an end, they will be received into the hands of 1,000 Buddhas who will free them from all fear and keep them from falling into the lower paths of existence. End quote. How can we possibly hold back our tears at the inexpressible joy of knowing that not just one or two, not just 1 or 100 or 200, but as many as 1,000 Buddhas will come to greet us with open arms? Now that's a profound paragraph, but if you're not prepared for the way Buddhism thinks about time, life, moment to moment, you can easily confuse yourself, and many are, about afterlife. Because we bring our cultural, religious baggage with us. But let me make sure you understand this paragraph, okay? Notice it, even though this is a translation, when you chant Namo Myoho Renge Kyo with the profound insight that now is the last moment of your life. This is discussing what I have other videos about, but your dying days, your dying time. Now, you may have heard this. There are anecdotes about this. People who are avid practitioners of Lotus Sutra method, Lotus Sutra Buddhism, certainly as Nichiren elucidated, mentors us. Their stay in the hospital or their dying at home when they are gone, when their sentient mind ends, so the person, done, gone, now just residual matter, energy decaying in front of us. There's a kind of an archaic smile on many of those people. Their skin tone isn't green or blue or lacking oxygen, in other words. They don't look like a dead person. Well, that's an oxymoron, isn't it? Dead is not person. Dead is body, not person. But you understand what I'm saying? In general, when you encounter a dead body, the person is gone and you don't have it's a kind of a shock. But when an avid Buddhist who chants Namo Myoho Renge Kyo leaves the body kind of betrays that there's no longer a person in it. There isn't, but the body has a better skin tone, a kind of a content look on the face. That's also a bit of a shock, but it's kind of relieving, isn't it? So there's two meanings in this paragraph. On the one hand, because of the mention of the moment, we live moment to moment to moment to moment. The depth of our appreciation for the life, the next moment, the momentum, should be as though waking from a death. Consider that. How valuable would this next moment feel, experience? How much appreciation would you have for it? Almost like awaking from a coma. I mean, this is a thought experiment, right? Thinking of moment to moment, life, death, right? Birth, death, birth, death, birth, death, birth, death. With that kind of fervor, appreciation, dedication, and resolve, I'm going to experience this entire moment into the next, into the next, into the next. What kind of life condition would that be? Yeah? And the other meaning is, because end is end, that if you end your life in a particular moment with your Buddha nature, you don't suffer. You don't writhe in pain. In those last moments, you embrace what a wonderful life has been, and you're still experiencing it to that last moment. That preciousness. And so pain, suffering, contortion, all of the sensations you would normally have because of samsaric attachment, they're not there. We talk about this all the time. The Buddha state of mind is one that is liberated from all of those attachments. Therefore, in the moments of death, while chanting, you are liberated from those things that would bring about suffering, stress, anxiety, contortion, all of that, pain. Do you understand? Concerning one who disbelieves the Lotus Sutra, because the sutra states, quote, when his life comes to an end, he will enter the Avicii hell, end quote. The wardens of hell will surely come for one and take one away by the hands. How pitiful. The 10 kings of the world of the dead will then pass judgment, and the skies and space-borne messengers who have been with one since birth will berate one for one's evil deeds. We know, though, evil in context of Buddhism in these translations is about you're working counter to your enlightenment. So how many stories, how many movies, how many people that you've known who suffered greatly before their last breath? Moment to moment to moment to moment, in great pain, moaning, begging to be killed because they can't take it anymore. Is that not the Avicii hell? Is that not the expression of suffering and pain because of the attachment to all things that are not real? Identity by virtue of the database of identification? It's horrible. I'm losing my stuff. That's not what we think in our minds, but that's what's happening to us. It's really that simple, that direct, and that ominous. Think of those 1,000 Buddhas extending their hands to all of Nichiren's disciples and lay supporters who chant Namo Myoho Renge Kyo as melons or moonflowers extending their slender vines. My followers are now able to accept and uphold the Lotus Sutra because of the strong ties they formed with it in their past existences. It's always been there. We're enlivening it. We're waking it up. It's always been there. Don't get confused by the storytelling aspect here, right? They are certain to obtain the fruit of Buddhahood in the future because we're awakening it. Namo Myoho Renge Kyo. The heritage of the Lotus Sutra flows within the lives of those who never forsake it in any lifetime whatsoever, moment to moment to moment to moment. That's a lifetime, isn't it? Birth, death, birth, death, birth, death, birth, death. But life is neither birth nor death. Those are a flip of a moment-to-moment process. That indicates momentum, not beginning and end. Whether in the past, the present, or the future. But those who disbelieve and slander the Lotus Sutra will immediately, quote, destroy all the seeds for becoming a Buddha in this world, end quote. Well, of course. You're going to take the ultimate method, Namo Myoho Renge Kyo, and you're going to poo-poo it, ridicule it, work against it even, or just ignore it altogether. What are you doing? If we're all going through the Sahara Desert and we're chapped and we're dying of dehydration, and somebody comes up with a bottle of water, are you going to say, screw that, we just need to persevere, push on, your water, ha, get out of my face with that? Really? I can pretty much guarantee that the person who happily takes that water and drinks it will outlast that other. Common sense, right? But this is what Nichiren is saying. Get on board with awakening your Buddha nature, or regrettably, incredibly, foolishly, not only don't, but then discount it, walk away from it? What are you thinking? Because they cut themselves off from the potential to attain enlightenment, they do not share the heritage of the ultimate law of life and death. Because they cut themselves off from the potential, a word I constantly use, of attaining enlightenment, instantiating enlightenment, because the potential's always there, they do not share the heritage, the lineage, the constancy of the ultimate law. They don't partake of the water. The ultimate law of life, the engine of life. All disciples and lay supporters of Nichiren should chant Namo Myoho Renge Kyo with the spirit of many in body and but one in mind, transcending all differences among themselves to become as inseparable as fish and the water in which they swim. This is our perception. When we participate in the flow of the engine of life, there is no separation amongst us. We're of one mind, Buddha-ness, one understanding, one experience. This spiritual bond is the basis for the universal transmission of the ultimate law of life and death, the engine of life. Herein lies the true goal of Nichiren's propagation of the work of Bodhisattva. When you are so united, even the great desire for widespread propagation can be fulfilled. But if any of Nichiren's disciples disrupts the unity of many in body but one in mind, they would be like warriors who destroy their own castle from within. So, if you claim to follow Nichiren's teachings, Shakyamuni's teachings, are a Lotus Sutra, a Lotus method Buddhist practitioner, but you sow misinformation, doubt, you direct people in a selfish manner, a political manner, the world of anger, leading them to ignorance rather than enlightenment, then what are you doing? We've read this over and over again, right? Nichiren has been trying to awaken all the people of Japan to strong resolve in the Lotus Sutra so that they too can share the heritage and attain Buddhahood. But instead, they have persecuted me in various ways and finally have banished me, or had me banished, to this island, Sado. You have followed Nichiren, however, and met with suffering as a result as well, right? It pains me deeply to think of your anguish. For the crime of following my advice on how to practice Lotus Sutra Buddhism correctly. Gold can be neither burned by fire nor corroded or swept away by water, but iron is vulnerable to both. A worthy person is like gold, a fool like iron. You are like pure gold because you embrace the gold, quote unquote, of the Myoho Renge Kyo, of the Lotus Sutra. The sutra states, quote, just as among all the mountains, Mount Sumeru is foremost, so this Lotus Sutra is likewise, end quote. It also states, quote, the good fortune you gain thereby cannot be burned by fire, or washed away by water, end quote. It must be ties of karma from the distant past that have destined you to become my disciple at a time like this. Wow, Nichiren used the actual word karma. And he's indicating that the flow of energy that forms us isn't as distinct and far apart as we might first guess. That the streams of karma of which I, Nichiren, am instantiated, shares a great deal with your karma instantiate. Well, for one thing, we're in the same country. Secondly, we're both practicing Buddhism. Thirdly, we are now practicing Buddhism the same way, right? That karma, those karmic trains keep joining closer and closer. The energy of formations are very related, and the influence on those formations, that karmic energy, is driving them closer and closer together. Those persons who had heard the law dwelled here and there in various Buddha lands, constantly reborn in company with their teachers, cannot be false in any way. This is another quote from the sutra. In other words, karmically, in formations, as we move toward enlightenment, we run into each other. We share, many in body, one in mind, the same goal. And that goal is the unity of all life. So how could we remain separate? How admirable that you have asked about the transmission of the ultimate law of life and death. I've never heard of anyone who has asked such a question. I have answered in complete detail in this letter, so please take it deeply to heart. The important point is to carry out your practice confident that Namo Myoho Renge Kyo alone is the heritage that was transferred from Shakyamuni and many treasures to Bodhisattva superior practice. Our guiding teaching, right? Which Nichiren identifies with, but he's not saying Nichiren the fisherman's son is our light in the dark. He's not, that's a religious kind of connotation. What he's saying is, and this is why he's using the personage of Bodhisattva superior practices, because he doesn't want this Tendai monk to mistake Nichiren as an ego center. You are my disciple, you are my follower, but you are not following me, Nichiren. You are following what I'm showing you. Correctly perceiving the engine of life. Myoho Renge Kyo. How to instantiate it immediately. Namo Myoho Renge Kyo. Be very careful in the wording here. The function of fire is to burn and give light. That's the function we give it anyway, right? The function of water is to wash away filth. Okay. The winds blow away dust and breathe life into plants, animals, and human beings. The earth produces the grasses and trees, and the skies and space provides nourishing moisture. The 5 characters of Myoho Renge Kyo are also like that. They are the cluster of rewards brought by the bodhisattvas of the earth, you and I, disciples of the Buddha in his true identity, our experience, our awakened Gohonzon mind. The Lotus Sutra says that Bodhisattva superior practice will appear now in the latter day of the law. This is the time to propagate this teaching, but has this happened? In the throes of medieval Japan, Nichiren is the first to take this on. Whether or not Bodhisattva superior practice has appeared in this world, Nichiren has already made a start in propagating this teaching. There's that allusion again, not illusion, allusion, that Nichiren is performing with his life, moment to moment, the very propagation Shakyamuni discussed in this time via a person who would enact, who would take the responsibility for propagation of the Lotus Sutra teachings before they disappear. And in the story of the Lotus Sutra, this person is identified sometimes as Bodhisattva superior practices. But that's a personage, not an actual person. Nichiren is embodying that effort. He's not saying, I'm a unique person. He's saying, I'm a unique entity, a votary of this very story, this task at hand. And you too, as he often, maybe not often enough, reminds us that we in our practice should be emulating him. Do as I do. Be resolved to summon forth the great power of strong resolve, confidence, determination, and chant Namu Myoho Renge Kyo. There's a bad translation. I'm sure I got rid of that at some point. With the goal, with the aim that your strong resolve will be steadfast and correct at the moment of death. Commit to Namu Myoho Renge Kyo, your awakening of your Buddha-ness, your Gohonzon mind, till your last breath. That kind of commitment. Never seek any other way to inherit the ultimate law of life and death and manifest it in your life. Now, do it. Only then will you realize that earthly desires are enlightenment, and that the sufferings of birth and death, birth, death, are nirvana, because in the next moment you can be in your Buddha mind. That's how quickly it happens. Remember all those 3,000 realms in a single thought moment, all contain within them Buddhahood. So it's just a matter of a shift. Even embracing the Lotus Sutra would be useless without the heritage of strong resolve. You can recite the Lotus Sutra backwards and forwards, but that doesn't mean if you have no confidence, if all it is a test for you to accomplish, look what I can do. If your attitude and your intent, there it is again, yes, I did it again. If your attitude and intent isn't about instantiating it in your life, experiencing it in your life, then it's just words. It's more samsaric attachments. It's not the words. I will go into particulars again on another occasion. With my deep respect, Nichiren, the Shramana of Japan. Now remember, this was written to Sarimbo. And he has other letters that he wrote to Sarimbo. This was a highly educated Tendai priest. And as you know, Nichiren has a great respect for Tendai. Tendai in China, and as it progressed through China with Miaolo, and then into Japan through Dengyo. And he often has written on how he laments that the what do you call them? Not descendants. Those who inherited the teachings of Tendai from Dengyo actually destroyed it. They destroyed the integrity of Tendai by following, avarice, ego, agendas, politics. Same old, same old. So Nichiren identifies quite closely with original Tendai thought and the elucidations of bodhisattvas after him. But Nichiren extends or develops the Tendai thinking and scholarship for this modern era. So he stands in his own right as an identifier of the correct transmission of Shakyamuni's teachings, for this era, this time, this capacity that we have. Anyway, that closes out that letter. The next one is the Daimoku of the Lotus Sutra. Can't imagine what we'll find out in, in that letter. It should be good. We may have covered that letter in the... did I make a book on the Daimoku? I know I've done several videos on the Daimoku, on Myoho Renge-kyo, on Namo Myoho Renge-kyo, the meaning and so forth. And Nichiren has written about it many times, and I know I've collected many writings specific to Namo Myoho Renge-kyo. I'll check. I'm telling you, I'm losing memory here. I'll check my ebooks and see that I have a Nichiren on the Daimoku, like I've been doing these books, so that we can have a collection of specific scholarship discussion about these key topics that always come up, especially in the early years of our practice, yeah? Let me know your thoughts, as always. I love to hear your comments. Take care of your health. Please remember to like and subscribe. Not for my ego, solely because that's the way YouTube works, right? The more likes and subscriptions they see, the more they think that the subject must be interesting or of value, you know, and ultimately they want to sell product, although they keep making that payout less and less. Anyway, I'm not in this to make money. I'm in this to support your practice. And in that regard, I've created a website with a lot of free information, also where you can get ebooks. And I have a bookstore for us, right, with the many books in print, as well as a correct mandala inscribed by Nichiren, a digital copy, of course. And you can download your own digital copy off of threefoldlotus.com on the ebooks page, trying to make that as easily accessible for you as possible. If you desire it, you should have it. Your Buddha-ness is innate. I'm not going to get in your way. I want to do everything I can to support your practice. You have questions? Email me directly if you're not comfortable with the comments section. That's okay. tlksylvain@gmail, yeah? Many of you do that. That's fine. Our Sangha isn't that big that I can't see all of your emails. I hope that's a problem one day. I hope our Sangha continues to grow. Your support will make that happen. So thank you in advance. Your practice is everything, though. So that's your first concern, yeah? But after that, I mean, some of you are actual patrons on Patreon. You consistently support this effort. Thank you from all of us, right? Some of you go direct to PayPal. However you do it, your support is immensely appreciated. In the meantime, take care of your health, please. Keep your practice strong. And I will see you in the next one. Bye for now.